Racist video was a racist trope that has been going on since the beginning of the inception of this country. It wasn't anything new to see black people as monkeys. That's Democrats have to adjust to the moment. You know, this idea of wanting this bipartisan, let's all get along, let's hold hands, it's over with, Abby, to be quite honest with you. If they
This nonsense by Obama, the woke left, has been the single meanest, angriest, exclusive, us, them, divisive movement in history.
enough, if you ask me.
Group in history?
They should be meaner.
I feel
Democrats get meaner.
I think the thing with
The high is over with. I think you get low, and matter of fact, get a little bit lower. And that's what people are responding to. So Governor Newsom, who Donald Trump can't seem to stop talking about.
Newsom?
Yeah, he gives them to it real good. He makes y'all real upset. He makes y'all real upset. Tezlyn Figaro here that loves giving it to you the same way
on
you
a
just
bipartisan basis.
involved in the economy. But to say we don't need to care about Epstein because the Dow hit 50,000. We don't need to care about people's health care because the Dow.
What does that have to do with this Dow high?
But you keep talking about the stock.
All right. You saw that. No sugarcoating, no pearl clutching, no let's all get along nonsense. Tezlyn Figaro just walked into that panel and said what a lot of people have been thinking, but were too cautious to say out loud. The era of going high is over. And let's be honest, you could feel the shift in the room. The moment she said fight fire with fire, you saw the discomfort. You saw the pause. Because when someone stops playing defense and starts punching back, suddenly the conversation changes. Here's the real question for you. Are Democrats finally realizing that being polite hasn't worked? Or is this just talk? Stick with me. Because this debate only gets more intense from here. And what happens later completely exposes the hypocrisy on that panel. And if you appreciate real breakdowns without the mainstream filter, make sure you're subscribed and drop your thoughts below. Let's get into it.
Obama is taking a swipe at President Trump and the rhetoric that's coming out of the current administration. In a new interview, the former president addressed the racist video posted to Trump's Truth Social account that depicts him and former First Lady.
A sense of propriety and respect for the office, right? So that's been lost.
So Tezlyn, is he right that most Americans are not down with this stuff?
I can't tell. What he is right about is that it is a clown show, and it's been lost. And unfortunately, I don't think it's ever coming back. I think that whether it's especially Democrats, have to adjust to the moment. You know, this idea of wanting this bipartisan, let's all get along, let's hold hands, it's over with, Abby, to be quite honest with you. If they do not put people in, you know, I say this all the time, if they do not fight fire with fire and match the same energy on the other side, they're going to continue to get the table ran on them. And that's just the bottom facts. Content creators drive elections now. Podcast hosts drive elections now. The idea that I can just sit back and always be on the defense opposed to the offense is over with. I think that era's over with, and I would like to see leaders adjust.
So here's what Piers Morgan says in response to this. Preposterously disingenuous nonsense by Obama, the woke left has been the single meanest, angriest, exclusive, us, them, divisive movement in history. In history, he says.
Coming from Piers, someone who is, guys, sickly obsessed with trans people and going after them every chance he gets. It's incredible, these people.
I would like to
Really, the people that are like, love who you want to love, be who you want to be, read what you want to read. That's the most.
They're not mean enough, if you ask me.
Group in history.
They should be meaner.
I feel
Democrats get meaner.
I think the thing with the Obama thing is that it's such a sky is blue moment. The fact that it was posted was so deeply and disgustingly racist. Everyone should be able to say that without caveat. The fact that Obama had to make a statement on it that wasn't just accepting Donald Trump's apology, to me, is appalling. And I just feel like everyone who's justifying what he did should be, you know, and used to be, shunned by civilized society.
Well, if I can ask both of you, I mean, I think Barack Obama took the high road there, right? Would you like to see him get lower, to your point earlier?
I would
you like to see him be meaner?
No. I think President Obama is who he is. He also talked about, which I know we'll discuss later on, how people have aged out. You know, their time is over.
He's right about that, yeah.
I think his era and the class era is over. I think you have other leaders, such as a Jasmine Crockett, for example, that is fighting fire with fire, that's giving it right back to Trump the same way he dishes it out. You have Governor Newsom, who is doing the same thing, whether you like his policy or not. We are now in an era where now people have to deal with it on a different different level. So no, I think that the going high is over with. I think you get low and, matter of fact, get a little bit lower. And that's what people are responding to. So to keep sitting back saying, oh, I'm appalled and I just can't believe it. No, I don't. They put it on the table. It was a racist video. It was a racist trope that has been going on since the beginning, the inception of this country. It wasn't anything new to see black people as monkeys. That's been happening. What's happening now is on the forefront for everybody to see and discuss. So I think now you have to have a shift in leadership, or you're going to continue to see the same thing.
So former President George W. Bush, this is President's Day, by the way, so he has a piece out on Substack that says, our first president could have remained all-powerful but chose not to twice. In doing so, he set a standard for all presidents to live up to. Washington modeled what it means to put the good of the nation over self-interest and selfish ambition. He embodied integrity and modeled why it's worth aspiring to. He carried himself with dignity and self-restraint, honoring the office without allowing it to become invested with near mythical powers. That's what back in the day we would have called a subtweet directed at one Donald Trump. And it's not, look, it's not a new observation about the founding father, but I just wonder, I mean, is he right that Trump is really kind of pushing back and defying the George Washington model for the presidency?
Well, I read the essay and I thought it was a wonderful essay celebrating George Washington, who's an incredible founding father. And then I saw the headlines about Bush subtly jabs Trump. I didn't pick up on that at all from the essay. I think he's honoring a founding father on President's Day. I really, unless you really hate Trump, I don't think you would interpret it with that anti-Trump rhetoric.
Do you see the contrast? I mean, do you see the contrast?
You know, I kind of buy into the idea that the office itself is above all the rhetoric and all the... You know, George Washington didn't have to deal with social media. There was none. And so those words are very inspiring, but we're in different times now. And I think the important thing to do, at least from my perspective, is I watch all this, whatever you want to call it, and I ask myself, is there any policy in there? Because really what the American people want is some guidance on what is coming next that affects their lives. And I think it's important to respect the office. I always have, and I'm trying to be bipartisan when I say this. But there's a lot of things that we focus on that really have nothing to do with the average person's day. And I think they need more respect. I deal with them. I've got all these companies with people struggling to survive. And we hit them with crazy stuff. And it doesn't help put cereal in the bowl.
Well, I think that may be why people are wondering why Trump keeps wanting to name things after himself, why he's focused on building ballrooms.
That's what all real estate guys do.
Can I say this?
Yeah, but I mean, this is,
I think what all presidents do, and I think that's the point about the Washington thing, right?
Contrast.
It's the thing about George Washington.
Forget about social media. George Washington could have decided to model himself after a king.
Can I say this, because George Washington is long gone. Representative Garcia, shout out to him last week. I put that one post on my post. I only have about 200,000 followers. Over 15 million people looked at that post when Representative Garcia was giving it back to Pam Bondi the same way she was dishing it out. Things that still need to be handled, food on the table, all of those things. Democrats want to see a fighter. Decorum is over with. Clutching of the pearls.
Who would
going
that be?
high.
Anybody in mind?
Yeah, I just named them. Representative Garcia, Jasmine Crockett, who I know Republicans love talking about 24 hours a day. Governor Newsom, who Donald Trump can't seem to stop talking about.
Newsom?
Yeah, he gives them to her real good. He makes y'all real upset. He makes y'all real upset. Tezlyn Figaro here that loves giving it to you the same way you
on a bipartisan basis. You want to put that guy in charge of America?
No, I didn't say that.
California.
No, I didn't say that. I said bring the same energy.
I like that guy, but he can't manage his way out of a wet paper bag.
Well, he sure got Trump talking 24 hours a day.
I think the point.
Let's stop right here for a second, because this is where the mask starts slipping. Notice how the conversation instantly shifts the moment Tezlyn moves from politeness to power. Suddenly, it's not about the racist undertones. It's not about the rhetoric. It's not about accountability now. It's about tone and humility. And George Washington, that's not accidental. That's a pivot. When Democrats speak calmly, they're dismissed as weak. When they push back, they're labeled divisive. It's a trap. You're supposed to sit there, absorb the insult, and then thank them for the opportunity. And the second she challenges that dynamic, you can feel the discomfort, because this isn't really about being respectful. It's about who controls the energy of the debate. Then comes the classic deflection. The Dow is up every single time, as if the stock market is some magical cure, all that erases everything else happening in the country. As if record highs on Wall Street automatically mean people aren't struggling on Main Street. And that's where the disconnect becomes obvious. Most Americans don't measure their lives by the Dow Jones. They measure it by rent, groceries, healthcare, gas prices, real life. So when Tezlyn pushes back and says that economic numbers don't cancel out everything else, the reaction isn't curiosity, it's defensiveness. Because when the usual talking points stop working, the only option left is to talk louder. And that's exactly what you're watching happen in real time.
About that George W. Bush essay is that it's a president looking back and being inspired by his predecessors. And I think that what we're looking at here is this lack of humility that we have from our current president. And what George W. Bush was saying, it's important to have some set of humility when you are leading a country. That if you have nothing to learn, then you learn nothing. Like Washington did a lot of great things, but I think the most important thing he did was willingly give up power when he didn't have to. And I think the contrast is we currently have a president who will try to keep power when he is supposed to go.
Yeah, the theme of George W. Bush's essay, which was excellent, was humility. It was just that. And I think everyone could use a little bit of humility. There's one of two ways we're going to go. Everyone's going to try to out-Trump Trump.
Everyone.
In which case we'll end up one place, or everyone maybe will raise their game a little. But as Barack Obama was urging in that clip, as George W. Bush was urging in his essay, show a little bit of humility as we sit here on President's Day in the 250th year of this nation. Let's reflect a little bit on the lessons of the past.
While we bash
always
all
with
this
the both
stuff,
sides garbage.
Why
I
is
can't
it
stand
that
that,
the
dude.
world keeps investing in America and the Dow keeps hitting new highs every day? Is that not an index of what people think about the economy and the future of America?
No.
Every single week, a new high.
I think we agree.
If we compare.
So what would you change? What do you want to do?
Well, I think if you only look at America as based on how the economy and the Dow is doing,
I
you're
do.
forgetting about
I
the
do,
American
because
people.
that's what lifts us
There's
all
about
up.
10% of people who are
So you
involved in
want
the
a crap
Dow.
economy instead?
Why would that be the contrast?
You would
I
rather
want
reverse
everyone to
it?
be
Let's
involved
have
in
a
the
crap
economy.
economy.
But to say we don't need to care about Epstein because the Dow hit 50,000. We don't need to care about people's health
Epstein's
care
horrible.
because the Dow.
But what does that have to do with the Dow highs?
But you keep talking about the stock market like it's the country.
No, I talk
and
about the
that's
American
not the
economy
same
and
thing.
jobs.
And it's not
jobs.
just the Dow. It's, inflation, core inflation
It's
is at a
the
4-year
index
low.
of the American economy.
Real GDP is growing at the highest rate
And
in
people are
years.
being
These
told
people
out of
said
their
idiots.
cars and
Wages
shot
are
in the
growing.
head, and we're building concentration camps. There's lots of things that you could say. It's not just how the economy is doing. And the problem that we got ourselves here
What
in
do
the
you
first
want,
place
China
is
instead?
because why do you say that? Why do I want China? I want the economy to crash, and I
Camps. You
want to be China.
concentration camps.
No.
Let me take you over there.
Let me take you to West Virginia, where we're building them now. Like we're building 19 in America. You don't need to take me over there.
Prisons?
Okay, well, that is a segue, if I ever asked for
What this entire exchange really exposed is something much bigger than one panel argument. It exposed how shallow the defense has become when your primary argument is the Dow is up. That tells me you don't actually have a response to the cultural tension, the racial undertones, the hypocrisy, or the everyday frustrations people are feeling. The stock market is not a moral compass. It's not proof of unity. It's not proof that leadership is above criticism. It's a financial indicator, and mostly for people who are already invested. So repeating it like a mantra doesn't answer the deeper questions. It just avoids them. And here's why Tezlyn's approach hit differently. She didn't apologize for pushing back. She didn't soften her language to make anyone comfortable. She didn't pretend that politeness alone solves power imbalances. She flat out said the go high strategy is over. Now, whether you personally agree with that or not is a separate debate, but you cannot deny that it shifts the dynamic. For years, Democrats were painted as passive, reactive, constantly defending instead of dictating. This felt like a signal that some of them are done playing that role. And that's unsettling to people who are used to controlling the narrative. But here's the bigger question. Does matching aggression with aggression actually win? Or does it just escalate everything? Because politics isn't just about viral moments. It's about outcomes. It's about power. It's about who persuades the middle while energizing their base. And that's where this strategy either becomes genius or becomes noise. What we just watched wasn't just debate theater. It was a glimpse into a possible shift in political posture. Less restraint, more confrontation, less let's reflect, more let's respond. And the reaction from the other side tells you everything. They weren't prepared for that energy coming back at them. So now it's on the voters. Is the era of when they go low, we go high actually finished? Or does fighting fire with fire eventually burn the whole structure down? That's the real conversation. And I want to hear where you stand. If you made it this far, I want to hear your take. Do you think this new fight fire with fire energy is necessary, or is it a dangerous shift? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I actually read them. And if you appreciate breakdowns that cut through the noise without pretending to be neutral, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one.